all eyes are on, I think it's Sergio Michel Perez Mendoza, to give him his full name, and that's why we call him Checo, I suppose. But there is another Mexican driver who's coming up. His name is Pato O'Ward. He's just 22 years of age. 2018, he won the Indy Light Series in the US, the road to Indy. And then he burst onto the scene. And for those of us that saw it, it was a fantastic performance at Sonoma, final round, I think, of the series in 2018. And IndyCar qualified 5th, finished 9th. And I always think that mega drivers are mega straight away. He's now finished his 3rd full season of IndyCar. He's racing for McLaren. He was P3 this season. Could have won the championship right up to the last round. And very soon, he's going to get his chance to drive a Formula One car.
So I made a deal with Zak, and he said if I won a race, I get to drive the Formula One car at the Abu Dhabi Young Drivers Test. And I said, okay, deal.
So I got an idea.
Yeah? What's your idea?
So you've already had a 3rd. You've already had a 2nd. So if you win one,
yeah,
I talked to Andreas. We put you in the F1 car at the end of the year after Abu Dhabi.
Let's go.
Good?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to earn it.
Yes, I will get you your win.
I have no doubt.
Hopefully multiple wins. That'll be good.
Deal?
Yeah. Deal.
Deal.
I think it was 2 races after we did the bet. I sealed it.
And he obviously had confidence that you would, so he's happy about the idea.
I think he is. I mean, I hope he is. I think we have great fun together. He's a great boss, and I don't know. I think the way of doing it is really cool because he makes you earn the thing, and I feel like that adds that little extra bit of sweetness to it.
Detroit, right there. There we go. Hey, we're starting to get some hardware going. Looks cool, huh?
Yeah.
Nice job. Thanks. More trophies next year.
Yes, more.
And so what's your ambition from the test? Is it just have some fun, learn about F1, or is it, okay, this could be part of my future?
I mean, to be fairly honest, I feel like it could be something that could come up in the future. I'm still young enough where that dream is still possible. And I know if I do my job correctly, maybe it comes into fruition, maybe it doesn't. I really don't know. All I can do is do everything I can control as perfect as I can and as good as I can, and then I kind of just have to leave it to the bosses to decide where I go. When you go from IndyCar to Formula One, the jump is different just in terms of just knowledge of circuits in race car, but I think in terms of getting familiar with how competitive it will be, I don't think it gets more competitive than IndyCar, to be fairly honest with you.
It's the Grand Prix of Mexico this weekend. How important is motorsport in Mexico?
Man, it's huge, and it's grown so much because, Checo has had great success in Formula One, specifically this year. Ending last year, he had his first win. He's in a championship winning car. The amount of people that enjoy racing there, and it's grown. It keeps growing.
And is that helpful to you as a Mexican driver, that there's a lot of interest at home?
This is just my experience, but a lot of people, particularly new generations, have absolutely no idea what IndyCar is, and they don't really care about it. All they want is just, all I watch is Formula One. I feel like IndyCar has a great potential in terms of racing. I think there's nothing better in the world. The potential is there to grow massively.
So the question there, I think, Chris, the first one is, Pato O'Ward, is he the real deal?
I think he is, yeah. It's not just McLaren that have seen it. I remember when Red Bull tried to pick him up as well. They took him from Carlin. That was because McLaren was sniffing around, actually. And the way that Zak Brown went about it, I don't think endeared himself to Trevor Carlin. So when Helmut Marko came calling and said, who have you seen in IndyCar that looks like that they've got a really good shot of going all the way? Trevor said, Pato. He's really quality. And I think I really like his attitude. I love his character. He's always just so energized, so up for it, and loves what he does. But he's just got the talent to back it up as well. And we've seen some great drives from him over the last couple of years. He's with a team in McLaren as well in IndyCar that is growing and improving. So maybe it's not a surprise that they didn't quite close it out this season, but to be in the fight right to the very final race was one of their targets. He told me that at the MTC a few weeks ago, actually, that he wanted to get more poles, win some races, be in the fight to the final round. And he did all 3 of those this year. So, he's on a very, very good trajectory. And I think we're going to see a lot more of him in the coming seasons.
What about that drive in Abu Dhabi, the young driver test, of course, that he talked about? It's a bit of an uphill struggle or not?
No, I think he'll be well prepared. I mean, it helps that he's in the McLaren arm of the IndyCar team, so he's kind of part of that team already. He's been to the MTC a few times, been in the simulator, and it doesn't feel so alien to him. It's not, he's not coming from outside McLaren to learn people's names and to learn that setup. So that's been pretty good for him anyway. And he's been really, really keen to get himself into an F1 car for a while now. And what's helped with this timing is that the IndyCar season ended so early. And he said that he didn't let himself focus on the F1 test until the IndyCar season ended. Then he kind of wrote down some notes and sent them to his IndyCar team and said, these are things we need to improve for next year. And then his mind suddenly went, oh, wow, I'll get to drive an F1 car in a few months. So he's got a bit of preparation time where he can fully focus on it. And I think that means he's got a good chance of impressing there too.
Definitely a superstar for the future, isn't he? I mean, be interesting to see where he goes. And it's interesting what he said about IndyCar not having that support anymore. Because I remember in the 90s, Adrian Fernandez, that's IndyCar was big time in the 90s back then. And then obviously it's kind of fallen away. Even for A1 GP days, we had, before Checo went to Formula One, you had Salvador Duran and stuff. And you could see the hunger was there. But obviously it's all been Checo, hasn't it, since he went to Formula One. And the great results he's gotten. But, if Pato can get the sort of results in IndyCar, maybe he can swing it back the other way. Because, race winner Perez compared to IndyCar world champion, I know which one would impress me more.
And it begs the question, and this is banging an old drum, but what happened with Red Bull? I mean, Chris, maybe you can add some more colour to that. Because we've seen with Helmut Marko, he gets excited about a driver, and then it seemed in this case that because Pato didn't have the super license points from the Indy Lights title win, that he therefore couldn't race in Formula One or something. He was a Red Bull driver for a matter of months only, I think.
Yeah, it's exactly as you've put it. Some people might be familiar recently with Colton Herta being linked with the Alfa Romeo seat if Andretti had taken over at Sauber, and it was the same problem there. Colton was in that same Indy Lights Championship, and there weren't enough full-time drivers over the season for the FIA to grant it the super license points. So for both Colton and Pato, they thought with where they finished in the top 2 in the championship, they were going to get a chunk of points. And when you add that to what they've done since, that would be enough for a super license. But the FIA didn't actually award the points for that season. So that's left them just missing out. And when Pato was picked up by Red Bull, they thought he was going to get the super license. That's how they understood it. So once they applied for one, found out he couldn't have it, they were kind of a bit stuck. They'd picked him up, put him in the young driver program, tested him in an old F1 car and liked what they saw. So they put him in F2 to see how he'd do in Austria. And I caught up with him there and he kind of said, I don't know where I'm going from this point because there's a bit of confusion over whether I'll be allowed into F1 or not. And if he had the super license, I think he'd have been in a Toro Rosso that next season. But instead, they had to put him in Super Formula, see what he could do there. And there just wasn't a way of getting the points quickly enough. So once McLaren showed an interest still, and Pato had a lot of interest from IndyCar, teams have seen his potential. That was one of the things that we don't always give them credit, but Helmut Marko and Red Bull went, you know what? Your career is well set in America. IndyCar want you. They can give you a good opportunity now. We'll keep an eye on you, but it's probably best for your career that you go back there and we'll let you do it. So he wasn't dropped as such by Red Bull, but more released to go and chase his IndyCar dream because that's where he was guaranteed a seat compared to F1 needing the super license points.